Hey Internet, back with another lesson. Today I'm going to teach you Your Solar Summer by Taking Back Sunday. It's an early 2000s pop punk song. It's nice and easy, just a few chords, and I really like the song. I listened to it quite a bit back in the day, and yeah, it's a pretty cool song, so let's just get into it. So you're going to start with your index finger on the 4th fret of the A string, right? So you're going to have that on the 4th fret of the A string, and you're going to have your pinky finger on the 7th fret of the D string. So you're going to play them together, except you're going to palm mute that. So you're going to go 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So what I've done there is I've just taken my index finger and moved it up to the 5th fret, still on the A string. Pinky still stays on the 7th fret of the D. And then in between that is just when you're going from the 5 back to the 4, in between is just the open A, still with the pinky on the D. So that stays, the pinky stays on the entire time. So that's 1, 2, 3, then 12, and then in between just 1 on the open A. So you do that, and then the vocals come in, and you still play it for a little bit, and then when he says, boys like you are a dime a dozen, you just come down to here, the 2nd fret of the A string, and the 4th fret of the D string. So 16 times right there on that, which that earlier, that adds up to 16 too, because it was 12, 3, 12 off note. Then 16 times. So boys like you are a dime a dozen. And then finish with a G power chord, which is 3rd fret of the E string with your index finger. Then your ring finger is going to go on the 5th fret of the A, and the pinky is just going to sit underneath on the 5th fret of the D string. So all together we have this. So that's the verse, except right before the chorus, when we come down to this, it's just, and then we head into the, so instead of palm muting, you're gonna like just play it, and that will bring us into the chorus. And the chorus is back here to the D power chord, which is still your index on the 5th fret of the A, then 7th, D and G. That's all I need to know. So all I, and then when it goes need to know, we move to an F sharp, and an F sharp is your index finger will be on the 2nd fret of the E string, and your ring and pinky are going to go on the 4th of the A and D. Then after the F sharp, we're going to go to what we were playing earlier, which was just here on the 2nd fret. So all I need to know is that I'm something you'll be missing, and then we finish on the G. And for those who are having trouble, I'm just going to repeat what the G is, because I know some beginners, you struggle to remember where the actual power chords are, even if I've mentioned it earlier. I don't want you to have to rewind. The G is the 3rd fret of the E, and then the 5th of the A and D. So just down, up, down, up. that's just 16 times on each chord, and then when we finish the chorus, it just goes back to the verse, and the verse is still the same. That back to into the chorus. So then we get to the bridge, which is still what we were playing at the beginning of the verse, but then the interesting part comes, and it's sort of like it's part of the bridge, kind of like the interlude, and he goes. And that's where he says, I'm a wishful thinker with the worst intentions. We're back on the F sharp, second of the E, fourth of the A and D. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then what we're going to do is, that wasn't a palm mute I did, it was actually just releasing all the pressure from these fingers and just letting them rest over the strings, and that's going to give us the harmonic sound, which you can have a lot of fun with when you like learn how to do it properly. It's a lot of fun, but anyways, just for today it's so 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it's the same thing, the exact same strumming pattern, but we're just moving down the strings back to the second of the A, fourth of the D and G. So he plays that twice. And then we get to the outro, which is where he says, if I'm just bad news, then you're a liar. And that is just a classic chord progression: D, A, B, G. It's really hard to hear what the strumming pattern is in this part of the song. I think it's because they use a lot of vocal layers, and it's something that makes their sound kind of unique. It doesn't mix well with some people. I've showed some people this band and they think it sounds like nails on a chalkboard, but I guess it kind of grew on me. So it's kind of hard to hear what Old Mate's actually doing with the guitar in terms of the strumming pattern on this outro. But really, like, if you're just playing along, and as long as you're in time, you can't go wrong with just down, up, like that. So I'll just show you when he says, if I'm just bad news, then you're a liar. It's D, which is still the fifth of the A, seventh of the D and G. So up, down, I'm just bad news. Then he just moves up to the A, fifth of the E, seventh of the A and D. Then you're a liar up here, so just move up a whole step to the B, which is the seventh, and then the ninth and ninth, and then back down, finishing on the G, which is a habit in this song, finishing on the G chord. And the G is still on the third of the E and the fifth of the A and D. And yeah, I know I'm repeating every time I say we're going to a power chord. I keep repeating where it actually is on the fretboard, and that might be annoying to some people, but just keep in mind that I target my videos for absolute beginners, people who really can't even read tabs, which is totally fine. It took me a while to figure out how to read tabs, and so for these absolute beginners, it is difficult to remember where all these chords are, because sometimes you look at like a fretboard for the first time, you're like, holy shit, like, how am I ever going to remember where all this is? And then eventually it just becomes second nature for you or me, but for the absolute beginners out there, we need to be constantly reminding them where exactly everything goes, because we were all beginners at one stage, and it's only through practice that we're going to get better. So anyways guys, that was the video. I felt a little bit rusty teaching you guys that one. That's because I haven't made a video in a while. I just kind of got lazy, to be honest. But I was sitting around and I felt like making a new video, so I hope I did alright. Subscribe if you're new, like the video, I don't like it. Just helps out the channel. Thanks a lot for watching, anyways, and I'll see you in the next one.